Welcome, my name is Rich, and this is a laid-back Let's Play of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. In this Let's Play, in today's Let's Play, I shall pick up a few quests here and there and continue with a few others in northern Caeled Coast. But in general, what you can expect from a stream such as the one today is a no-rush pace. I will be making mistakes. I won't be playing at absolute human peak. I'm not capable of that. I'll make terrible jokes. I'll make jokes at the expense of the game. I'll talk about things in the game that I like or which I think could have been done better. I'll talk about places I think the game probably drew inspiration or the things that the game is trying to say in terms of story or message as they occur to me. Like, I haven't done a deep dive into the intentions of the creators so that I can give you behind the scenes knowledge or anything. I haven't done that. Basically just reacting to the things that the game presents me with. And I will probably, given the rate that we've gone through zones in Cluricon previously, I'll probably do all of this area and whatever's going to go on here. And maybe a bit more than that. I don't know. Because it seems like the density of content has gone down since Dalentarth. Or, well, certainly since getting from Rathier to Melsenshire, but maybe content was going down even since Dalentarth, I think. And of course, these zones are way, way smaller than any of the previous ones. So it's obvious that they were running short of time when they got to Alabastra. There are a number of places that the game feels like it is underdeveloped, under-realised. Anyway, moving on. Brun the Bard.
Hail, adventurer! I am Brun the Bard, spinner of stories, seeker of adventure. Allow me to welcome you to the Caeled Coast, haven to the wise and wicked. These brave soldiers, the finest of the Alfar armies. They escorted me all the way from Melsenshire to these verdant lands. Alas, our journey together has come to an end. But there is still adventure to be had, so join me. If not, then I bid you fair warning. Your journey shall be far less exciting without this storyteller at hand.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about including this guy. He seems like a flake.
The wonderful gentlemen and ladies of the Alfar armies have been kind enough to act as my loyal escorts, all the way from Melsenshire, and before that, Erethel. Without these good, hearty folk, I never would have survived. The voyage across the sea would have been enough to sink my spirits.
Your spirits are a bit rubbish then, aren't they?
Brun was the name given to me by my mother, the lovely daughter of the full moon. A skin like the glow of Alabastra. Long ago, I was the court bard of Castle Gastear, the teller of tales, the spinner of stories. But when the Balgan invaded, well, they had no need of my expertise. This lush land was once the royal domain of two great Alfar families, the Ancillas and the Gastears, the most powerful of bloodlines and the most bitter of enemies. For centuries, the two houses warred over the coast. So enamored were they with each other that they blinded themselves to the real threat. And so the Balgan came and conquered. The houses fell before them. One might say they were toppled by their pride.
No. We're not getting a Romeo and Juliet business here, which is good. But I didn't realise that Alfar were living in these lands. I thought it was just Fae. I mean, I know about Melson Shear, but I thought that maybe that was just the only colony that got attacked as it was being built, or shortly after it was built.
Lord Aaron Gastear was a very wealthy lord and a powerful landowner. Don't care to speak much more on the subject, thank you.
Fair enough.
A wise question, and a fair one. As Bard of the Gastear Court, I know all the tales of the Caeled Coast, of how this great land rose and fell, and became what it is now. Allow me the pleasure of your company, and I will lead you through these luxuriant lands, spinning stories of times long since past.
Yeah, alright, fine. He was obviously supposed to be a companion you could add to your party when this game was going to be a party-based one.
I had a good feeling about you. Someone who cherishes a good story. Let us proceed. The first stop on our tour begins across the bridge behind me. Alas, there is one small problem. That area is favored by our enemies. If you can clear the area of them, I will follow and join you. We must clear the spot ahead of Balgan. It is a famous place, and they sully it with their presence and their stench.
Do I have any junk? Yes, probably. There we go. Ooh. Bunch of Prismere. Dreadscale. And Spirit Weave, I think is the name of the tier 5 cloth. What's Necklace of Eradicating? 10 plus physical damage. 10%. Not just a flat 10 on top. Outlaw's Gem. Gem of Debilitating Retribution. 50% chance to stun enemies when attacked. That's quite a lot. +1 to the first 4 tiers of unlocked finesse abilities. I will have your lockpicks, thank you, sir.
Goodbye.
Hey.
So just ahead of us here is, well, marked on the map, Balgan Camp. There we go. But we also have another quest across this rock bridge. Just a dude camping on his own, hanging out. Oop, no, that would be stealing. Alright, let's not.
A fledgling hunter by the looks of it. What's someone so soft doing in the Caeled Coast? Don't you know this is Balgan country? Those red devils are really digging in. I've slain many on my hunt for Chernabog.
Okay, first of all, that's quite an accusation to throw at me. I don't know quite what you're basing that deduction on, but I have definitely killed more dudes than you have. Chernabog is an interesting detail to put in the game because it Chernabog is a god, a deity from Slavic religion. He's a god of the dead and the underworld, and is usually therefore associated with evil. And I think he probably had something to do with chaos and darkness, maybe, which, I mean, are things that you usually associate with evil, but they're not necessarily evil. Chernabog. Latin Chernabog, literally black god, is the god of bad fate worshipped by the Palabian Slavs. He was first mentioned by Helmold in the Chronic Slavorium. What is Chernabog the god of? Chernabog appears to be god of chaos, darkness, and the night in Balto-Slavic pantheon of the Marvel. Oh, this is Marvel Universe. That's not helpful. Because Marvel may well have, in fact, probably did, make some alterations. Myths and Folklore Wiki, that's probably got a bit more information. Probably more true to the original myths as well, not like Chernabog through the lens of Marvel, or whichever Marvel creators decided to write about him or use the name. Proto-Slavic Cernu, Black, and Bogu god. Black god. Also spelled with a Z instead of a H. Or TH. TCH is a Slavic deity whose name means black god, about whom much has been speculated but little can be said definitively. The only historical sources, which are Christian ones, interpret him as a dark, accursed god, but it is questionable how important or evil he was really considered by the ancient Slavs. Indeed, because Christians, particularly sort of Middle Ages to modern period, had an awful tendency to cast anything that wasn't Christian in a pretty awful light, particularly gods, to make them as unappealing as possible, because Christians, like their god, are incredibly jealous. Or they were. About Chernabog, there was just one written document named Chronica Slavorum from a Saxon missionary, Helmold, that says a bunch of stuff in Latin, which isn't surprising, because Latin was the scholars' or monks' language of the Middle Ages. Among Slavic people, there is one weird belief that will shock you, that is kept in their drinking fests and feasts. They at the same time bless and curse under names of their gods, respectively in the name of Good One and Evil One, saying that good things come from good god and evil comes from evil one. In their tongue they call evil god Chernabog, or black god. Now, Chernabog actually shows up in American Gods by Neil Gaiman. He's a Slavic god that the main character visits as part of his journey, who at the end of the story transitions from the dark, evil version of himself to a... Oh, here we go. Yeah. In literature, he appears in American Gods by Neil Gaiman as Chernabog. In the alternate history novel, The Peshawar Lancers, the Russian Empire turns to Chernabog worship after a comet impact causes widespread famine and cannibalism. Okay, that's not much about Chernabog in Neil Gaiman's American Gods, just says that he's there, which isn't very much help. This text, the previous one that I quoted from Helmold, so in reference to that text, this text takes an important role in understanding Slavic beliefs, but since this text represents only Palabian Slavs, or maybe Polabian, Polabian, which I'm pronouncing Palabian, which may well be incorrect, it is unknown if Chernabog is known among other Slavic tribes. There is no historian that denies his existence, but they assume that, according to Helmold's script, he is not original Slavic god, but rather created under Christian influence, and he is equivalent to Christian devil. That's interesting. Well, anyway. It's interesting that Chernabog, as a Slavic god entity, is used in a game like this that has almost all of its influence drawn from Celtic mythology, with some Christian references like Lazarus and Babel, and the Anglo-Saxon and Norse Alfar, Dokkalfar and Losselfar in it. So it's kind of, with Chernabog, they're adding in a bit more pan-European, certainly Northern European. There doesn't seem to have been any Greek or Roman reference in the game, well, except for the Gnomes of Odessa, but that's a visual thing, not a cultural one. Anyway.
Grand fellows and courageous to a fault. They're the ones who accompanied me this far. Helped me pass through all their bloody checkpoints. Of course, once I had the chance to take leave of them, I did. One doesn't need a band of glory hunters following him on the most glorious hunt of his career.
What checkpoints? I've been wandering all over this land, and I have not met a checkpoint yet. Although, in fairness, I suppose I am the hero of Melsin Shear, and they would be, of anybody here, most willing to let me through. But the fact that he doesn't recognise me as the hero of Melsin Shear, or is deliberately not mentioning it, is interesting.
Ha! My hunts are the stuff of legend.
Whose
Not
legends?
even that fey armor tear can boast to have tracked and slain more prey than I. And now I intend to claim Chernabog, the Balgan champion, as my greatest trophy from the Caeled Coast. The Tuatha and the Balgan have kept this land in their greedy pockets for more than 10 years. They can have it for all I care. It's a stagnant pit of decay and despair.
I'm surprised that... No, hold on. That's not how I wanted to start that sentence. It occurred to me... it occurred to me just now that he was probably also someone that you could add to your party of companions, maybe. Seems like the story would be setting it up for that. And to help you... to help him... to have you help him fight Chernabog.
The oldest and mightiest of the living Balgan. He led the armies of Gadflo to victory over the houses of Ancilla and Gastear. Chernabog may be ancient and marred by war, but don't let that fool you. He is as strong as ever. The scars don't give me away? Ha! You're probably the first person in recorded history not to recognize the mighty Alof the Hunter. Usually my reputation precedes me. As for why I am here in this muggy puddle of piss, I intend to conquer Chernabog, the mighty Balgan, and win his eye as my trophy. But first he must be summoned, for he won't just face any foe, you know. Only those he deems worthy to smite with his blade.
Let me guess. Alof will be present, but mostly just being thrown around, and will do the majority of the work, bringing Chernabog down.
You're certainly welcome to try, but I'm afraid he'll be much too dead by the time I finish with him. Besides, you still have the offering to consider. Chernabog will only battle those who can prove their ferocity. It is his way of swatting away the flies who don't offer enough of a thrill for his fiery blood. If you can collect the eyes of 10 Balgans, then you are clearly a warrior who deserves a reckoning. Set the eyes upon Chernabog's war lanterns and the beast will emerge.
It's awfully good of Alof to let us know how to do it.
I've travelled the world and hunted all manner of beasts. I tracked them down, claimed their heads and hides as mine. Krang the Etin, I slew him, as I did the Fist of Corthis and the clan of Craddock elders in Gallifall. By offering the bloodthirsty beast the eyes of 10 Balgan that you have slain. Once you place that bloody offering on the pedestal and light the war fires, the ugly brute will emerge. Goodbye.
Gallifore Plains are up here. Was there a Craddock council of elders in Gallifore? I mean, obviously we never met one, but there was no mention of one either by the other people there. Like, it would have been super easy to just slip in a one single line about, oh, I'm so glad that the Craddock elders, the ancient Craddock who have been bothering us, are gone now. Like, all it would have taken was one small voice line about that. Who's this poor bugger? Black Eric 7. One of a series of books featuring the people's hero Black Eric, aka the Sprightly One, and his adventures across Amalur. Chapter 7, the Caeled Coast. The two warriors faced each other beneath the verdant boughs of the green coast, two dark shades in a vast ocean of shadow, as the tips of their war flames curled up to snap at the stars like hatchlings yearning for their mother's feed. Around and around the figures turned, blades aglow in the firelight, eyes white with mutual contempt, until the roar of the red beast split asunder the silence of the twilight, as the cries of a wee babe drives its mother to fear. The ground shuddered. I thought sundered might be the word, but the ground shuddered beneath the weight of Chernabog's anger as he set forth on a path to strike down our hero and demand his death in good order, for there was no surrender in the eyes of the Balgan, and their victories were washed only in the sweet red tang of blood. The Sprightly One froze in his stance, shield raised to meet the approaching fiend. There was not time for escape, or even for the most hushed of utterance to flee his quivering lips, for the beast was upon him. In all the minutes of his lifetime, never had our hero considered the prospect of defeat. Nay, such judgment was folly. But as the mighty beast descended on, as the storm clouds hung endlessly above the sodden soldier, it seemed that the end of Black Eric had finally come. Was this written by Brun the Bard? Or had it? For beyond the veil of mistake and regret, and far greater than any mortal terror or passion for survival, came a far more potent an urge. The one called love. Mia! Called Black Eric as he pushed back the bulk of Chernabog. I will come for you! Okay. I'm surprised that this isn't a discoverable location. It looks like this is a set of doors. And that someone has been killed here and dragged within. I wonder what he's doing waiting here.
Who approaches me?
Ah, presumably this is where we'd bring the 10 Balgan eyes. So that would presumably mean that this is where Chernabog will emerge from later.
Who approaches me?
If you were remotely up on... Oh, hello. Current events, you'd know who I was. Balgan Eye, nice. There we go. Platinum Talisman. So we will, it seems, be getting at least... maybe not actually. One eye. I didn't get an eye from this guy. His eye is still in his face. But it seems like we'll be getting eye drops from most Balgans that we kill, which is good. It means that we won't have to go elsewhere in search of Balgans if we don't get enough of them here. There's an enemy? Oh, it's an Emergen. Okay. Why is just the one Emergen here? That's weird. I'm surprised that it didn't attack me either. These guys sprung their ambush a little late. No. There's a hidden door here. Nice. Bunch more Mergen. Hello. Tuatha Cowl. Interesting. Oh yeah, that looks like a Tuatha Cowl. Mana regen per sec, 25% mana. Elemental resistance, mana regen per sec. Not a great set bonus. King Gadflow dresses Tuatha Deon mages uniformly in these sumptuous Prismere-studded enchanted garments. I think I've got... I remember that description. I think I've got a pair of gloves in the same set. Oh yeah, whoops. Robes take off your I forgot to break down those components. Oh well. Robes take off your legs as well as chest when you put the item on, don't they? Ooh. Almost missed that. It's a little bit weird that it only contained one alchemical component, but okay. It's impenetrable. Block efficiency. Let's break them down. I think we'll run around the outside and then head to the middle and then do the various things about the place. I like to have areas explored. How is I not hitting him? That's... Oh no, it is. There we go. I didn't quite get close enough. I was about to say, that looks exactly like the standard pile of rocks formation that you can interact with and get something from. And the fact that it hadn't revealed itself when I approached confused me. But apparently it was just that I didn't get quite close enough. Oh, hello. Nuts. Oh. Master piercing handle, Balgan eye, gold coins. Nice, I'll have all of those, thank you. I don't know how far down that path counts as the transition point from one zone to another, and I don't really want to explore a zone before I'm ready to well, discover a zone before I'm ready to start exploring and adventuring around in it. I wonder where the two houses are supposed to have been. This is probably one of them, even though it's been overrun now by massive thorny vines. Oh, hey, been spotted. Very cool looking weapons, aren't they? The edges of the blades look like they're glowing. Heat probably, given that these are fire imbued fey blades. Universalist's necklace. Lowers equip requirements. Platinum amulets like this one are crafted to store powerful enchantments. So that would allow me to equip gear that had higher levels of equipment requirement. I mean, let's take it. It might be useful. It might be that I end up crafting something with my 10 blacksmithing skill that is beyond my ability to equip, which would be a bit embarrassing. Yeah, it might be possible for me to build something that I can't equip because, like, all of this stuff has a Might 33, Finesse 29, Sorcery 21. All of these have equip requirements, and it might get to the point where I'm trying to equip something that I'm not qualified to, where I can craft something and try to equip it that I'm not qualified to equip. I'm surprised that one ignored me. Usually, not Balgan, Barghests are pretty on the ball noticing people. Oh, this is Gastear, okay. So, I don't remember what the other one was. Why isn't it on the map? How can I not have discovered it yet? Oh, now I have. Oh, cool. Thanks. Weird positional requirements. Ooh, hello. Just you, is it? Apparently he didn't have an eye. Or, well, so in quests that ask you to acquire a certain item from an enemy, like from their body, and an enemy doesn't drop that item, I take that usually to mean that you damaged it too much during the fight for it to be usable. Is he sharpening the edge of his weapon on the edge of his shield? That seems like a bad idea. Golden eye. Splendid.
Through the woods and mountainside, through the hollows and green meadow, through the summer, winter, day and night, through the hallowed halls of seasons and song, through the vengeance, pride and sorrow, echo the footfalls of the greaves of the Fey Hunter.
So, this is quite interesting. These trees have bright blue, well not bright, but vibrant blue indigo leaves. And I was going to talk about that, but then I looked out over the sea, over the coast here, and I saw these trees growing on outcroppings of rock in the ocean, which is extremely unusual because you would think, given the size of those trees, that their roots would reach into the sea, which tells me that they're sort of... I mean, I don't think there are any trees on Earth that can survive with their roots in salt water, but I think mangrove trees, mangrove swamps, mangrove swamps are brackish, which means they're a mixture of salt and fresh water. And so obviously mangrove trees in mangrove swamps can survive some amount of salinity in the water, but I don't think that it's pure salt water that they can manage in, which means that these trees out there are even more hyper adapted for salt water than mangrove trees, which is quite remarkable. I'm surprised there aren't any quests over here. But maybe we'll get some. Junk. Just steal all your things. But it's not like you're using them after all. So these are just Alpha soldiers. But this guy has a name. He's Private Cornell.
Hey, what are you doing out here? Caeled Coast isn't a good place for a stroll. Not at all. Do I know you? You have that look. Familiar. I fought with Captain Gastear at Melsenshire. Maybe we spent a few skirmishes together. I can't remember everything that happened. Can you?
Yes. Captain Gastear, that's interesting. obviously a relation of Brun. But quite what their relationship is, I suppose, well, I hope we'll discover.
We've been making good time through Cluricon. Mel Shear was the dam, and now the river is out of control. We'll be in Alabastra soon enough. It's the last bastion in Cluricon. Well, we expected the Tuatha to form a stiff resistance. That hasn't happened. The castles have been overrun, but that's about it. It's been pretty quiet, actually. I've spent most of my time keeping my sword sharp and hoping to spot the southern lights.
What are the southern lights?
That place is sharp stone, a wall. The only way we can get a force past the House of Pride and into Alabastra is to topple Ancilla. But not even the heir to that place can get inside. I heard rumors that an advanced team had been sent in to secure it. But rumors are rumors, right?
So is Castle Ancilla not in northern Caeled? I was expecting Ancilla and Gastear to be both in the same zone, but maybe they're not. Maybe Gastear is in the north and Ancilla is in the south, and Ancilla is the gateway between Cluricon and Alabastra.
If you are interested in sharing a bed with a Balgan, you will want to take a stroll over to Gastear. The place is as red as they come, crammed with our big one-eyed friends. They are a magical phenomenon that occur only in the Caeled Coast. Some in the Scholia Arcana believe the lights were created by Lord Gastear's personal mage, Braxis. The story claims that after the fall of Gastear, Braxis enchanted the royal fortunes, hiding them in a spell that only the most persistent adventurer would uncover. If you believe in such rot. I cannot lie, though. The lights are gorgeous. You can see them after dark, if you stand over by the old Gastear shrine on the cliffs. Bye.
I mean, it seems like it's night now, and we were at that shrine on the cliffs not long ago, and we didn't see any lights. Stabity. Oh wow, that ability has got a long cooldown. Didn't we kill everything up here? Why is there another bar? Yeah, so I was figuring that we would find Castle Ancilla somewhere around here, maybe up here in the area that we hadn't explored yet. But yeah, it looks like Ancilla is probably around here, given that this is the route into Alabastra and High Fulgan. Because I don't think there's anywhere else that we could discover. I don't think a castle is hiding anywhere up here. And also, what's his face? Private Cornell wouldn't refer to the castle as the entrance to Alabastra if it were in northern Caeled Coast. I don't think. Be a bit of a stretch if it was. How's it going, chaps? Feel like dying? You guys are a bit of a disadvantage against me, given that you don't have shields. Let's take all of them. We're getting there with the eyes, aren't we? I was a little worried that we wouldn't find enough Balgans, but it's obvious that I didn't need to worry about that. It's just occurred to me that Alof probably told us about the requirement for getting Chernabog out here, so that we would do the heavy lifting for him, and then he would steal the glory. Of course, as tends to happen with fights that involve NPCs on your side in this game, he's probably, as I mentioned, just going to get tossed around whilst we do the heavy lifting. How's it going, Aelin? Just stroll over. We're not in a rush or anything.
The Tuatha are on the run. Good work. Plus, it's much more pleasant here without Gadflow bellowing at me from all corners. But enough pleasantry. Are you prepared for your reunion with Ventrinio?
Bit of a weird thing to say. He'll answer for my death, given that we are here. This seems like a stupid thing for my character to say, but maybe it will reveal a little bit more information and context, so I'll play it as though my character is brain dead.
The notes we got from Octien say that you were employed as Ventrinio's assistant in his secret laboratory. You were with him in Alabastra when you died, but the notes weren't clear on what happened. I'm sure the two of you have so much catching up to do.
Were you not involved with him as well? Because apparently you knew us and did stuff here with us, alongside us, before our death. And I can only imagine that's because you were also employed by Ventrinio. But maybe I'm wrong.
Just make sure he lives long enough to get us into Alabastra. Once that's done, it's none of my business. Dannestar is almost perfectly defended. Ventrinio could keep an army off of its shores. Good thing we found another way there. Secret fey paths through elemental darkness? Magic like that should be closely guarded. Imagine how powerful it could be. He's a worm, but a useful one. Octien took quite a risk setting him up in Cluracan. Must have made a lot of deals to keep him safely hidden away. I believe our new friend has a disturbing path of living shadow to offer you.
Yeah.
By all means, be my guest.
I'm not quite ready to go yet. Oh, no. Don't do that. That was the camera choosing to move by itself. Or rather, stopping moving, as it does when we're about to enter somewhere. Ooh, hello. Oh hey, welcome nomads. Oh well, I can't. Stat medallion. No, junk. I can't add the buckler component to junk because it's a component, but that also means that it won't take up space in my inventory, so that's fine. Hello. Why did it play that alert when he was so far away from me? No eye. Savant's necklace, what's that do? Oh yeah, mana. Right, of course.
The hunter runs. The hunter runs. Swiftly, swiftly for our lives. A mortal skirt of chain. A mesh of links forged in secret. The hunter runs. The hunter runs. In the tosses of the Fey Hunter.
So we are in this area only now getting references to some kind of legendary
Can
Fey
you smell the Balgan?
huntsman.
I will remain here while you clear the way. I'm of no use against Balgans and their blades. Goodbye.
It's a bit of a shame that we're only just getting references to something that should be culturally present everywhere. Like, when we were in Dalentarth, and the Plains of Erethel, we were getting Fey legend references. Like references to the Godstorm and stuff. So you would think that a figure like a huntsman, some kind of legendary Fey huntsman, would rate reference in all the Fey sources that we encountered back in the Western Feylands. In Dalentarth. So finding reference to such a figure only here feels tacked on. Oh, where did he come from, this asshole? Fucking come on. There we go, mana back. I'm being surprised by a Barghest from nowhere. No, let's leave that for a while. I don't think our dispelling is quite good enough. By which I mean our dispelling is not at 10.
The Tuatha have forced their war upon us. They eagerly cut through mortal flesh and mortal bone, and as a reminder of their butchery, they display these mortal corpses throughout the land, turning sanctity into putrescence. The bodies remain on our ground and on our gallows tree, bloated and corrupt.
It's a recording left by one of the House of Sorrows, evidently. Cessblade. What a delightful sounding weapon. Carried by Fey beaters in the Wild Hunt. Such potent enchantments are usually reserved for Fey kings, queens, and archsages. 41 poison damage over 5 seconds, plus 5% poison damage, and just physical damage and piercing damage overall. Oh yeah, did I have to look at these? I don't remember. They're quite cool, aren't they? Not overwrought or anything. Winterfey in design with austere blades of Sidon. Oh, the austere blades of Sidon, the Outcast, were forged with stolen steel and avenged blood. Nice. But I think I want the demon horns. I mean, the damage of the Cessblade is only slightly less, and probably would be equivalent to the demon horns if I had invested points into improving my abilities with longswords, but yeah, I prefer the speed of demon horns, of Feyblades. Well, really, I prefer very fast, but this does slightly more damage. Well, no, it does the same damage as these, but with higher crit chance and damage, which I think is probably more valuable. These look much more red here than they do on our back, don't they? That's quite interesting. Nuts. What's that do? Stun duration. That might be worth breaking down for the component, if I can get the stun duration component out of it. And now this quest is wait for Brun. Have I got enough Balgan eyes? Yes, I have. Worthy of Chernabog. Summon Chernabog. There we go.
Excellent work. You are clearly much more proficient in the ways of war than most visitors of the Caeled Coast, even the soldiers.
Indeed I am. Thank you for noticing. Let me sell things. Then tell me a story.
It would be my great pleasure. Picture it. 10 years ago, the rising sun, a lingering fog. Somewhere in the forest are screams, the cries of battle. Then, silence. It happened here upon this site. The ambush of Gorn Akri. It is here on this spot where the Balgan drew first blood, killing Lord Aaron Gastear, his son, and their squires during their morning ride. Let us move on, shall we? And if you don't mind, there are more beasts to attend to ahead. The Balgan have infested the entire area around Castle Gastear, my old home. Destroy them, and I will relate the tale of the First Lord of Gastear himself. Goodbye.
Oh. I thought, based on the view of it from this perspective, that this was a chest, but no. I don't know what that is. So, let's come over here, do this, come down here, do this, probably. I expect that Brun will lead us around to Castle Gastear. I think that's probably where this is heading. Oh. He didn't fare too well then, eh? These random entries are written in a scrawled, rushed manner. Krang the Etin. Not the brightest beastie I've ever had the pleasure to slay, although I will commend his decision not to plunge from the cliffs after being stabbed repeatedly. At least he wasn't in the position of having his skull broken to bits, not after watching his blood spill from his severed shoulder sockets in a rush of red sauce. Poor disgusting brute. No one will bother him any more, will they? Gornak of Korthis. Ah, the Fist of Korthis. An island paradise if you're deft enough to avoid the sand crabs and not acquired, not acquire the dreaded fire-piss imbalance that causes so much nightly suffering. I, for one, was not so lucky. Ooh, unfortunate. Still, the great scarab Gornak was a well-earned kill, and one I would gladly tout upon my return to Rathir. Such a battle is worthy of praise. Scarabs give me the shivers, they do, right down to the ends of my toes. Creddock Elders. Which is weird, because scarabs are just a kind of beetle that push around dung balls. At least on Earth. I don't know what they are in Amalur. Whenever I hear that twitchy shudder, that delighted click of spidery legs, I just about empty myself into my breeches. True, such a statement is not expected of one of my reputation, but I do believe I have earned such honesty with my numerous victories and well of exceptional trophies. The more Creddock one can kill, the better. I don't really feel like taking that is necessary or worth anything. Now, see, I had thought that he was going to wait for us and attack Chernabog with us, but the game has subverted my expectations, which is nice. Oh, nuts. I had the wrong spell equipped. There we go. Let down. Let's see what you can do, shall we? Oh. Turn on a dime like most Balgan. Okay. No special abilities. It's surprising that we can't hit him whilst he's charging like that. Bit annoying. Also annoying that when his attack, when any Balgan's attack is coming in from upper right to lower left in a slash like that, that you can't roll that way and completely avoid it. Like, I tried it before against another Balgan, but if you roll when they're in the middle of an attack swing, it doesn't matter what direction the blade is actually going in, you get hit, which is kind of bullshit, but oh well. Helm of Balgan's Bane. Nice. That's that dealt with. What's this? Might Helm. What other pieces? So, like, is there a chest, gloves, legs, and boots of Balgan's Bane? Melee block efficiency, physical damage, which is a nice boost. Critical hit damage, that's quite nice as well. From 2 pieces. And then 3 pieces get you block efficiency, and then 4 pieces get you +2 to might abilities, which is quite cool. A sturdy helmet designed for maximum protection. Yeah, I mean, the horns aren't great, because if you've got horns attached to your helmet with any firmness, actually what you've got is a pair of levers on your head that allow people to grab the horns and twist your head around, which isn't great, or at least twist the helmet around on your head, which, depending on the fit, might mean that your head gets jerked around, or that you get left blinded because the helmet's been moved in front of your face. The Balgan's helm isn't as good as this robust Prismere helm that I've smithed myself, so I won't be going with it. I probably wouldn't go with it even if I had all 5 pieces, and at this stage in the game I have no hopes of finding the other 4 pieces, or at least not all of them. Bit confusing really, because the game has all these all of these gear sets that are 4 or 5 piece, depending on whether they're cloth or not, and it seems like you never find all pieces of a set. Unless they get given to you, like in the case of the Warsworn gear set. Critical hit. Well, let's have them to break down later. I realise I am gradually filling up the space in my inventory with things that I intend to break down later, and thus leaving myself less and less space each time, but oh well. I hate that those things turn in the air. That probably would have been easier with the chakrams. I just like using the demon's horns, to be honest. I think they're cool. This is interesting. Wonder how this is supposed to work. When we were told about this place, we were told we needed to balance something, I think. But I don't know how that's actually going to end up working. I am super glad that I found traders who had backpacks that would increase my carry capacity. Oh, nice. Wow. I thought that was Niscaro for a moment, but it's the wrong colour, and it's definitely not animated, which is another big indicator. Where's the thing? Here we are. Super weird to find statues of Niscaro in Arathi ruins. Like, usually a culture only leaves statues if they revere a thing. But I find it difficult to believe that the Arathi would revere the Niscaro. Maybe they're supposed to be like a warning? But if that's the case, why would you need so many of them all over the place? What's going to spawn in here? More sprites, okay. Sprites. They're exactly the wrong kind of enemy for me. So they've got a variety of different types of attack. And their attacks home, which is I don't like, as I have made clear. My magic frost attacks don't home in on enemies, although this is largely because I can't actually lock on to enemies, but that's a different thing. Flawless hardened rivets. Nice. What do those do? 100 health. Ooh. I would usually prefer a component that gives you 80 or... well, not 80, but 2 of health and mana. But that's 100, which is the most I've ever seen on a component. So I suppose that's worth taking. Surprise! Came from this direction, not from the direction of the main entrance. Tsunami, what does that do? Critical hit damage with magic. Nah. That's junk. That's only because it's exclusively with one type of thing. If it were damage, if it were critical damage with anything, all critical damage, then I would definitely be interested.
I think at first they were genuine friends. We were so young, with nothing in the world to really concern us. There was no place for malice or resentment. I don't care anymore, they're not worth my breath. I was in a place of promise. Lyria's magic shined throughout the halls. New and interesting people were everywhere. None as interesting as that divine spirit, but promising. I learned more there in 2 days than I did my entire life elsewhere. In fact, I owe my mentors a debt of gratitude. Were it not for them, I would never have found it.
Unlocked door with Damalrock Scales key. Ooh, we're in another area that's magically suspended water. Interesting. Oh, nuts. Can't sneak up on the one on the left if the one on the right is facing this way. There we go. Shame about the last one, but this one over here had some loot. Better part of 1,000 gold on him, nice. These Mergen are very rich. I wonder what they spend their money on, or where they spend their money. Bypass the scales. wonder how we're supposed to do that. Do we fate break to get in here? I don't remember doing this from last time. We're running out of space. Can I just break the button? I think I need to kill dudes on one of these. Come on, get on the thing. Group up. There we go. Hand drops of the blizzard sound like they just boost ice damage or something. How's it going, dude? Must have been pretty bored here on your own, eh? Just steal your stuff because you're not using it.
Sorrow precedes you, mortal. It is almost enough to shift the great scale on its own. It has been centuries since my reverie was last disturbed. For what cause are you here? What could a mortal possibly want with me?
I've got so much to tell you about.
Alarine and I have been apart for some time. I think it will be good when this business is over to resume our meditations together.
What business is talking about?
I was another of the wretches that the Weeping King saved when he first walked into the Feylands. When he pulled the rot of winter from me, I learned how I too could do the same. So I learned the finer points of his magic, and followed him as the first delver. Though all of the house are the followers of the Weeping King, the delvers are his true disciples. They can delve into the sorrows of another, just as he did. It was formed as a way to keep the winter traditions of decay and rot while building a winter court. But in time, we lost true sight of what the essence of winter was. The sorrows are the inheritance of the House of Sorrows, so to speak. We have been working at delving for centuries, collecting and shaping this magic. But we had never thought that it could be exploited. Do the Tuatha revere nothing?
How does he know about... Well, maybe his meditations reveal things to him.
They are Alarine's orders. In many ways, they are the stewards of the House of Sorrows. While delvers deal in the spiritual, tenders see to the corporeal. That moniker holds no meaning to a true Fae. What is age to the ageless, to the immortal? Izarain, I have been sealed in here for some time, mortal. But even I know this one. His is the hand that leads the House of Sorrows, no? I know something of the war this land cries of. I will serve. But before I go to his side, you must find Alarine. She and I are as one. Once, long ago, Alarine and I walked the midden as faithful devotees of the Weeping King. She a tender, and I a delver. We were the first of our kind. But when the Weeping King passed, there was nothing. The House of Sorrows that he had built no longer served death, but the winter court that it itself had created. So Alarine and I left. We came here. We devoted ourselves to the contemplation of death, as the Weeping King would have wanted. It means much to me that you wish to reunite us. We have been long in isolation, contemplating death. Perhaps too long. As you found me on one part of the scale, so will you find her on the other. Now I will leave my cell to wait for you both.
Sounds like they've been doing something super goth.
She tends to the scale as I have for these many centuries. You must reset the scale in order to reach her chamber.
Okay, how do I do that?
Among our kind he was, and he remains singular. None could do now what he did. To naturally find the sorrows in others and delve into their being. And though he formed the House of Sorrows, though he saw the birth of the Court of Winter, he did not remain. By choice or fate, he went to Ashara, never to return. I think this war has exhausted all other Winter Fae who knew the Weeping King as he walked. But though Alarain and I remain, I can scarce recall him. Very well.
Okie dokie, so I need to find a way to reset... Oh, that's interesting. To reset the scales. So presumably this is where the Weeping King would sit, and then Alarain and Caeled would sit at either hand. Okay. Need to go the long way round. Oh, here we go. Mormurgen. Well, that was simple. Hurrah! I was worried that would need to be more convoluted, but seems I didn't need to. These things must be glowing like black lights to leave this kind of indigo light upon the ground. Given what Caeled said about the Weeping King being the only Fae to be able to effortlessly find the sorrow in others, I think that what's-her-face in who we met in the House of Sorrows, whose name I can't remember at the moment. She might be a successor, if not actually his reincarnation.
How curious. You are mortal, but your steps resound with a burden greater than any one mortal might ever hope to bear. More curious still is your presence here. The great scale is not idly moved, nor is my reverie broken without cause. What is your purpose?
To boop you on the nose.
Of the Weeping King's disciples, we were the first. Standing on the edge of the midden, we bore witness to him, transforming our people into something more. We vowed to never let that memory fade. Though death did call, we remained in this world, so that the knowledge of the Weeping King persisted. Along with the Weeping King, it was Caeled with whom I watched the rise of winter. We were fated to be the first tender and delver. I think too long have we been in these contemplations, isolated. When this affair is over, I think we will reunite in earnest.
Seems like they miss one another.
They are the heart of this collective. A delver can take the sorrows into their being like the Weeping King did. Becoming a delver means mastering his art. In the beginning, it venerated death, but in time the house was revered by Winter Fae for its sacrifice. The sorrows, they were meant to stand as a monument to the work of the house. And now they stand on being used as a tool for war. Despicable. Of that order, I was the first. I had the strength to answer the Weeping King and take the burden of other Fae, but I could not hear the sorrows within them. And so I was to honor the Midden and tend its depths, so that nature would forever know that we have honored her call for decay. Caeled and I have lived long in this world, it is true. But our choice was not driven by some manner of self-preservation. It was to learn. All Fae return their life energy to Ashara on death. But the nature of Winter Fae, their essence, lies in the decomposition and decay of all things. Caeled and I have forsaken being reborn anew to embrace the rotting of the corporeal world among us. That is where nature truly lies. The first king of the House of Sorrows, and perhaps the greatest Winter Fae to walk these lands. He taught us to delve and to bear the burden of winter, but when the realms of winter were freed of this burden, the Weeping King left this world, never to return. It has been long since that transpired. So long, in fact, that I cannot even recall his face or his presence. But it was powerful. Being in his presence was to know the sorrow of our race. I have felt the shifting of the scale. I know that Caeled has now ended his contemplations to serve the King of Sorrows. It is no small thing that he asks, for the knowledge that was given to us by the Weeping King was never to propagate nor to be exploited. But I know of the times that are upon us. Come, let us join with Caeled. If Bizerain and you are to find the Sorrows, then it is more than my knowledge you will need. Where we must meet, come, and the eldest will be reunited before you. Goodbye. You have come. Caeled, I am gladdened that Caeled and I are united once again. But if Bizerain truly seeks the Sorrows, then he will need more than the knowledge of the eldest. There is a key of sorts to the Sorrows. It lies in the hollow of Sincere, the hollow of the Weeping King. We must recover it. Yes, a mortal is not suited to this task, perhaps, but I do not believe we have time to find another to do this for us. We have not asked you to reunite us without cause. Our efforts must be divided. Bizerain must be instructed, and the key must be found. One of us will accompany you to Sincere, and the other will go to the house. We leave the choice to you, mortal. Caeled and I have different skills, but both of us are capable of guiding you through Sincere. I do not deny there will be hardships we must combat. For that, I rely on my Fey Blades, while Caeled uses his magics. Which is of more use is up to you.
I don't think that it matters. Maybe if I were full might, having a mage along would be helpful. Possibly. I mean, this is probably another situation where it would be more significant if we were playing a team-based game, where you assemble a team to accompany you, but yeah, no, given the fact that you would have been playing solo, or mostly solo up to this point, I don't think that having one type of assistant or another will really affect your gameplay that much, so might as well bring Alarain with us, and Caeled can go and help Bizerain.
Very well. I've not had cause to use my blades in some time. I will shadow step to Sincere, and await you to meet me there. Our work awaits, mortal. Let us make haste. Goodbye.
So what? Well, the game skipped some text there. There was quest text or dialogue, but no voice acting. Weird. I don't think that's really happened. I think maybe it has occasionally a little bit happened, like once previously, but that doesn't usually happen in the game, which is good, obviously. No thanks, don't want any of that. Oh, my limit is just about to be reached. I've got 1 inventory space left. Great. Actually glad this time that they didn't have any loot, because it means I wouldn't have to leave anything behind or make a choice over which thing to destroy in my junk. Oh. More thingamies. Ha! Nice. That spinny chucking shit disrupted his charge. So that it couldn't just charge straight through my attack animation at me. Alright, let's come this way to Brune so that we can sell our junk. Hopefully nothing will spawn between us and him. I wonder how Balgan get in and out through these doorways. I mean, I assume that that's a doorway. It seems like the only section of this structure that is, or could be, a doorway. But, like, they're huge, so this has got to be, like, bow down and push through. But there's also, like, not just an arch up the top, but the ring has got, like, a bit down here with spikes coming down off of it. So getting in and out of these for a Balgan, where they barely fit. That's super weird.
Free the area around Castle Gastear from Balgan, and we can continue on our journey.
Cool. I want to sell some shit. Nice.
Goodbye.
I wonder how he knows that we've done this. How's it going, chaps? You ready for some death? Just one moment whilst we're in the middle of a fight. Let's hold off a moment. Hold off a little. Hold on. Where am I? Oh, there we go. Repair all. Let's repair them as well. that do? Ooh, nice. Have with that. Guardian Staff, what's that do? Damage to discard. No, I don't care about that. It's awfully convenient of them to all be looking away. Very considerate. Now, I wonder whether getting this guy will draw the attention of the other. No? Cool. I might be able to get all of them. Well, that's inconvenient. Should stay put. That one on the right is probably going to notice me. I could stealth bomb, or I could wait for him to get up. And trundle about. Stab. Get out of the way. Stupid beast. Stab. I wonder how Brun knows. He's on his way. It's not like he could see, really, is it? Going a fair old clip, innit?
Hello. You have done it. You have rid the gates of the Balgan. As promised, I have another tale to be told. The very first Aaron Gastear arrived here generations ago from Mel Senshir, before the final tower was raised, when the great giants of Cluracan were but saplings. On that very first morning of his arrival, while the sun ascended the sky, Gastear scaled the heights and saw below him the great keep of the merchant Ancilla. Gastear could not bear such an intrusion on his new ancestral homeland, and swore an oath. By right of mine, and sword in hand, I will not forsake our native land. Now that you've seen Castle Gastear, we should move on to the final stop on our journey.
And what is the final stop?
The last thing I want to show you is near the coast, on the cliffs overlooking the sea. It's the best story yet, but again, it must be freed of Balgan.
Haven't I already done that?
Goodbye.
I feel like I've already beaten up loads of Balgan over here. But okay. I should be able to get behind them as well. Provided they don't get up and wander around. Stab. We're behind a rock and a rise, like a hillock. So quite how... and some bits of fallen masonry as well. Quite how Brun knows that we've killed the Balgan.
Hello? There. you've cleansed this place of the Balgan. I shall tell you the last tale, the best of the lot. Believe me, these cliffs were made for my story. I've told the tale of the first Gastear, he who discovered these lands, and I've told the tale of his descendant, the last Gastear, he who lost these lands. My final tale is that this last lord took a young mistress to his bed, a servant named Wilda Brandon. They had a child he refused to claim as his own. To assuage his guilt, he wrote a royal letter in which he decreed to her and the child great wealth. But rather than take that letter, she took her own life. Here, that woman was my mother.
Yeah, I thought so.
Hear me, friend. I do not have much, but I will offer you all that I have to find me that letter. The letter that broke my mother's heart.
Sure.
I will read it, and I will finally know if what my mother told me was true. Then I will destroy it. I want nothing to do with the Gastears. My mother never wanted his kingdom. She only wanted his love. That letter has haunted me for 10 years. I will now be rid of it. Of him.
Sure. It's probably in the keep, which is where I was going to go anyway.
Friends. Yes. I suppose we are friends. I'm not sure where to look for Father's letter. Father. Strange to call him that. I would think he'd keep it near, lest such revelations be discovered. The castle. That would make some sense, wouldn't it? I'll be back at camp. Be careful. I would feel terrible if anything happened to you.
It's fine, it won't.
I remember my father having a chest near his throne. I always assumed it was where he kept his mother's personal possessions. Goodbye.
I wonder what the contents of the letter will be. We're probably going to find out. Because I'm nosy. Oh, this place is ruined, isn't it? Well, maybe this was never supposed to be enclosed, which would be unusual for this style of castle, but you never know. This could have been an open courtyard. Oh no, never mind. Been spotted. In that instance, the almost random way that the game picks targets for your chakrams was actually on my side. Ooh, there's a quest in here. But usually it isn't. Interesting. So we'll come around here. Around here? That doesn't make sense. And then jump down here? Maybe? A dude inside the castle. Okay. What else is going on in here? Here's the jump point. Yep, that's jumping down, as I thought. Super don't remember this place. It seems quite large. It's almost big enough to be a zone on its own, isn't it? Yeah, we definitely come round here for some reason. Despite the fact this is the entrance, and when we... unless this goes down, then it would be Prismere Troll. Jeez, okay. That's some serious business in there, isn't it? Unless that goes down underground, the fact that the entrance is enclosed by sections of the castle is doesn't make any sense.
After all this time, I'd just assumed Enodon had abandoned me, that there was no justice left in this world. But here before me stands the hero of Melsenshire, in the skin, fresh from the Baelor's bloodying.
Not that
And
fresh.
it appears my prayers had been answered. Tell me, how much goodwill do you have left, Honored One?
Yeah, definitely going to ask her about Brun the Bard, because this is Hilared Gastear, who appears to be a genuine descendant of the Gastears.
I am a captain under what is left of General Tulera's army. There are only a handful of us left after Melsenshire, but we press southward toward the Tuatha's lair. However, my quest for justice means more to me than any victory. I have left my soldiers in the capable hands of Captain Canwin. She has moved ahead without me. Yes, I remember Brune. He was kind, silly. There weren't many like him in the court. When everyone else was so grim, Brune and his heart never ceased singing. I wonder how he fares now.
Your half-siblings. Surprised that she didn't mention that. Maybe she doesn't know.
I grew up behind the walls of this stronghold. All my memories are of its beauty, its security. It was an ideal childhood. Those days have long since passed. When the Tuatha marched, it was Rassinon who killed my family and claimed Castle Gastear as his own. And though he may hold the castle, he will never hold its name. I have devoted my entire life to reclaiming this castle, enlisting in the army, fighting under General Tulera, and then breaking free of Melsenshire. This is my destiny.
Why do you want the castle?
My great-great-grandfather built this keep. You can still find the one stone resting where he laid it in the courtyard. We spent 4 generations in these hallowed halls. Then the Balgan came, followed by their Tuatha masters. They killed everyone, Fae and Alfar alike. Rassinon was the worst of them. He murdered my mother and now sleeps in my family's chambers. With your help, Honored One, my family will find restitution.
4 generations isn't a lot, all things considered. But okay. I will help you find justice.
You will be rewarded, my friend. We Gastears have long memories of both our friends and our enemies. Come. Rassinon knows I cannot pass through his gauntlet alone, but together we can avenge Castle Gastear.
Sure.
It has stood here on the Caeled Coast for centuries, a testament to the will of my ancestors. Rassinon made it a grave. Now I will make it his.
Who is Rassinon?
Were you not told the stories as a child of Rassinon the Ravager?
No.
Rassinon the Red-Eyed?
Well, I mean, I might have
He
been.
was one of the first to give himself to Gadflow.
Ah.
It is my life's work to make him answer for his crimes. Old as I am, he is older. And I don't want him to die without knowing the rage of his killer. The castle has been completely ransacked by the Balgan, and debris blocks the gate into the castle. We have to go around through the dungeons. Then I will have my revenge. Believe me, it has been far too long in coming.
Okay. It is through the
Hurry.
dungeons. Underground. That's good. Because otherwise, this would not make any sense at all. I mean, just the fact that the path goes down would have been enough, but the fact that she also mentions that it's in the dungeons. No, sneak. Fuck's sake. Her not entering stealth wasn't that big of an issue, more the fact that he turned around as we were approaching, and she was getting near to him was the issue. What's this? +2 to sorcery abilities. That's quite cool. Writing of this letter suggests a steady artistic hand. Thank you for your concern regarding my family, but I strongly suggest you save it for your own, lest your wife gives birth to another man's child again. The first 3 times were scandalous enough, Jesus! Now it borders on triteness. As for what you say happened 2 days ago, I have no idea what you're referring to. I had business in Rathir at the time. Lady Ancilla. Oh, jeez. 3 illegitimate children that your wife has had out of wedlock. Or... well, behind your back, certainly. I don't know whether out of wedlock is quite the right term, but... Jesus Christ. The first would have been enough for me to kick her out. When dudes talk about getting double teamed by girls, I don't think that this is what they have in mind. Cut the fuck up from front and back. Oh, it's inside. Oh, never mind. Sneaking at this point is not going to be any help, is it? Ooh, I could get him though. That'll make life a bit easier. Hopefully nothing we do will cause the troll to get released. And there's another thing in here, but oh, it is a troll. This door was open, the other one wasn't. What isn't? I mean, the fact that it's still closed means I'm not going to try opening it, just as I have got another Prismere troll to kill. I don't feel it necessary to deliberately free and disturb a troll. It's not doing me any harm at the moment. Seems a bit unnecessary. I mean, there might be a chest in there, I suppose. But it's basically just a troll chilling out on his own, or her own, perhaps. Not doing anybody any harm. And there's some cripple spore caps in there, but I don't really care about one cripple spore cap, to be honest. Of course he comes up with me. No, thank you, I don't want any of that. Surprised he was able to hit her, despite the fact that his Balgan friend was in the way. Scathe. What does this do? Physical resistance, 85 mana, 20% mana costs, reduced mana costs. This amulet is a more powerful version of amulets once common among Varani raiders in the north. I'm surprised this isn't amongst. That would make a little bit more sense. It's a cool amulet, but I don't think that I care about it very much. So I think I'm going to add it to junk, to be honest. Blades of S-Laughter. Ingenious Buckler. Oops, didn't mean to do that. That's a bit weird. The chest is phasing through the metal grating of the floor. And once more we are running close to the limits of our inventory. Door is opened by unusual means. It cannot be opened with keys or lockpicks. That's annoying. I imagine the same is true of the next one as well. Yeah, there we go. I wonder what does open those. I also wonder what the purpose of... Okay, so this is the dungeons, I guess, but like... What's the purpose of most of this building? As I've complained of before, the buildings in the game don't really have fully functional interiors. Like, they don't have rooms that you would expect them to. Written on a fine piece of paper. I assume in your juvenile sense of humour you found that comedic. Let me educate you on the subtleties of warfare. What you did today is the equivalent of topping your wife. That is easily accomplished. Jesus Christ. The next time you try such a feat, you should aspire to something noteworthy. A first for you, I'm sure. Good Lord. Oh, the poor man. Got burned to death. Okay, so here's the jump point down, which we're not going to be taking because that would necessitate running all the way around again, which, no thank you.
Let's go.
Poor woman's father was such a joke. If I hadn't got stuck on that stone, I would have been fine there.
Let's go.
My inventory is full. I need to make some choices. Alright, let's destroy these. And these. I'll free up some space. Destroy them too, because they're common. There we are. That's junk. I wonder whether I can open these. Probably not. Oh no, there we go. Surprise. I'm going to assume that nothing important was stored in any of these. Wow, this is super roundabout, isn't it? Jesus. I suppose it makes it great defensively, but... Ooh, hey! Greaves of Balgan's Bane. Interesting. Let's check out what those look like. Spiky. Pair of heavy foot-protecting greaves designed for maximum protection. Are they really? They don't have the, like, little sort of fin-shaped protective bits on the outsides of the knees here that you see on full plate harness from sort of the 16th century. I would argue that going up slightly higher, these offer more protection, certainly along the sides of the knee. Okay. Ah. But cool, we've got another piece of the gear set. After me wondering aloud whether I would ever find more pieces of that gear set earlier. Okay, so this is the route onwards, but there is some stuff to kill in here. What a spiky hall. How did it turn that quickly, the piece of shit? This whole turn on a dime attack things are fucking bullshit. Fist of Kraos. Nice. What's that? I mean, it's obviously a big hammer, but... Ooh. That's fancy. It's nicely decorated. With this weapon, Kraos freed his people and established the Colossae as a separate nation. It is patterned after the mythical Titans' warhammers. This is, I think, the first time that we've actually had Titans referred to in the game, but okay. I'll just take it on faith that they're mythical. And we are once again almost out of space. Destroy. How much inventory space have we got left? 1. Okay. Oops. Where's what's-her-face? She gotten stuck on some geometry.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's... Killer Ed. I realise that the walls are spiky, but try not to get caught on them, eh? What's through here? More boulders. Ha 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 ha! I am a human blender! As in a blender that is human, not a blender for humans. That would be a bit horrible. Ah, right, Dreadscale boots. Ooh, I'm going to break them down. They're 80 health and mana component. This letter is written in a bold script with Lord underlined. As the almost as incompetent son, I will make sure my first order of business will be to repay you in kind for what you did to my mother. I hope one of your many bastard children can retain the tenuous grasp of control you have on your land. It would be so boring otherwise. Oh, to the late Lord Gastear. Oh dear. Seems like Lord Gastear did the Lady Ancilla in. The previous Lady Ancilla. That's a shame. Wow, what an idiot. Useless guard. Oh, nuts! Had the wrong weapon equipped. Bollocks. Theoden's charge. 20% damage boost. Lovely. What on earth has happened to cause this? Oops, dang it. How's it going, guys? Dang. Gonna have to destroy some more things. I mean, I know that these are white rather than green or blue or purple, but they should sell for quite a lot. So I'm loath to destroy them. Let's do some of the green gear, I guess. Maybe that'll be enough. Why has it got a special name if it's just white? Quality. A mystical staff capable of blasting waves of elemental energy from its tip. Add to junk. Add to junk.
Well done.
Add to junk. Ancient Lianshi. This is interesting. You don't usually see a dining table behind a throne. Cuirass of Balgan's Bane. Nice. Okay, so we've got 3 pieces of that gear set now.
Well done.
Letter from Lord Aaron Gastear. Inspect. This letter is addressed to a woman named Wilder and appears to be stamped with the royal seal of the House of Gastear, a great Alfar noble family. My dearest Wilder, please forgive me for what I have done. If only you knew how much this revelation haunts me, how my evenings are lit by the sombre light of my shame. You deserve better. But I am a man of office, and I cannot recognize your little Brun as one of my kin. It is not to be, as we are not to be. But you do forever occupy a place in my heart, and to show you my affection, please accept the gift of land, gold, and the title. They are little comfort in this lonely time, but they are all a coward can provide. Forever your Lord Aaron. Not quite sure what about that would have caused his mother to commit suicide, but okay. Vigorous leggings. Add to junk. And just before we talk to Willa, destroy, just in case she happens to give us anything. Quite a grand space, really. Right. Oh, Hillard, not Willa. Oops. My mistake. Hillared.
He didn't even seem to remember me. I've given my life to finding and killing Rassilon, and he probably didn't even understand why. But now the quest is ended, here, at home. I want you to have everything of mine as a reward, and to help me forget the many years of tragedy that led me to this end. Now go. I need rest. I deserve rest.
Not sure where you're planning to rest. Didn't seem like we passed any bedrooms on the way.
These old halls have been held too long by the Balgan. Castle Gastear has been left a ruin. Once this war is over, we will rebuild.
Who is we?
My days of blades and battles are behind me. With the aid of people like you, I shall rebuild the Caeled Coast. The name Gastear will mean something again.
Cool.
Goodbye.
Try not to engage in useless bullshit rivalry with the Alea house. It's something house. Jeez, I can't remember. I'm so bad with names. Ooh, bloodroot. I know I've left that troll alive in the dungeons, but it's behind a grate, and anyone who... And it's possible to see through that grating, so anyone that comes through here will be able to see that it's there, and hopefully won't be damn stupid enough to open it and let it out. Alright, let's transport over to Odie's camp.
Hello.
Do not have enough space to hold the items you were given. They have been dropped in a loot bag.
You have gone through much to bring me this, only to watch it destroyed. But it must be done. You understand? This letter proves that I am an heir to Gastear, and an heir to his heartlessness. He gave my mother everything, and all she wanted was his love. And now, she's gone. You are my friend. You may not agree, but that is what I choose to believe. You have helped me more than anyone has. I will remember you. I hope you will remember me. She may be the only one truly worthy of the Gastear name, superior to her father in every way. I remember Hill. She and I used to play together in the courtyard. I try not to think of her as a sister. It makes matters all the more confusing. Goodbye.
Why does the game want to give me these things? Sorry, got some stuff to sell to you.
You and I, you know what I am, who I am. That is a knowledge that cannot be forgotten. Goodbye.
Be on your guard.
Oh, here we are, Sergeant Odie.
Well, I expected to see a lot of things out here in Caeled, but not the hero of Melsenshire. What brings you this far south? I am Sergeant Odie, twice decorated officer and now civilian escort. I guess you could say that I'm really working my way up the chain of command.
It's Odie, not Odie. Okay.
Oh, I never should have ended up here. My family's ship was tossed into the cliffs during a storm, and I was the only survivor. The Ancillars saved me. They raised me as one of their own. I may not be native to these lands, but they are the closest thing I've ever had to a home. No one has called me by my given name in years. I'm just Sergeant now. Been that way for a long while. I used to be a healer, but lost my gifts when the war came. Something about all the carnage, the death, it bled the magic right out of me. So I took up a sword. It was all I could do. We all need to carry our own weight in this tragedy. And mine is to fight. I have allowed 2 citizens to travel within my unit, which I probably should not do. but I have a weakness for those in need. Guess it comes from my past as a healer. Oh, Brune the Bard is not so bad. I actually knew him as a kid, if you can believe that. He's a little excitable, but harmless. I cannot say the same about Alof the Hunter. Strange sort, that one. He insists on staying outside our camp. Says we stand in the way of his quarry. To each his own.
Yeah. You don't need to worry about him now, he's dead.
Farewell.
Just wondering, this hollow log, it, based on the appearance from this angle, looks an awful lot like the hollow logs, like the giant ones that you can run through, that are used as bridges elsewhere in the game, mainly in Dalentarth. Like, I think there are a few in this sort of area. My inventory is a bit too full to adequately adventure with, I think, so I'm going to spend a bit of time breaking down items at the forge. And while it will not be thrilling viewing, and it is my fault for not doing this between streams, I kind of feel like it needs doing. Where did I get that from? Oh, well, actually, you know what I could do instead is I could go and deposit some items in my stash. Couldn't I? I've got the space. I don't. Oh, there's 55. Okay, maybe I do. I don't think I ever got a look at Righteous. Don't know where it came from. Heavy duty blade meant to be wielded with 2 hands. Thanks, that's dead helpful, that. It's a unique appearance, but it's not terribly ornate as these things go, which is interesting. They can go in the junk. Oh, whoops. I left it equipped. There we go. And now the stash is full, which kind of sucks. Now I'll break down items. Nuts. You would think, being a level 10 blacksmith, that I would get the good components out of salvaging. There we go, alright. Instead of, like, the basic things. Nice if you could tell the game what you want to salvage. Fucking Christ. Oh, whatever. I don't need the things that much. I'll just break them all down now. I get what I get. I don't care.
We've still a long ways now. What is it that I can do for you? Beware the forest.
What on earth have I got in my inventory that's taking up that much space? Can't all be gems, can it? This eye belongs to Chernabog, the bloodthirsty Balgan champion. It should fetch a good price from any shrewd collector. Oh, okay, so just add it to junk then, okay. Don't care about bleed resistance gems. Or that. Or those. Oh, can't get rid of that. Add that to junk. Can't interact with any of these three. Can't get rid of that. These are part of a quest, I think, that I still haven't done anything about. Don't really ever use those potions, and if I do, maybe I'll keep that one just in case I want to boost my alchemy in order to brew anything more potent. Sorry, I know you've just sat down.
We've still a long ways ahead now. What
there we go.
Is it that I can do
up
for
more
you?
space.
Beware the forest.
Odai's camp, and then we'll run over this way to catch the Shadow Express and meet Ventrinio. Surprised I managed to remember that name. And hopefully it will only take half an hour, because we've been playing for 2.5 hours.
I hope you're ready for this. Of course, this is bound to be informative. I'm just disappointed I never had a chance to see the original Well of Souls. I believe our new friend has a disturbing path of living shadow to offer you. By all means, be my guest.
Good luck with the gnome. Especially if you plan on killing him. Right this way, and we can walk the shadow to Dannestar Island. Stand in the pool of shadow, close your eyes, and touch the tree. I'll take care of the rest. And don't open your eyes while you're moving through the shadows, no matter what you hear.
That's not ominous.
Dannestar Island is sheltered from visitors by stone and storm. Exiles of the Winter Court were once banished to its lonely shores. We know of a secret shadow path, a legacy from a house all too familiar with exile. My people are no strangers to exile on the barren island of Dannestar. To steal back our freedom, the House of Sorrows forged a path to the coast through living shadow. It's safe so long as you keep your eyes closed during the journey and ignore the whispers. We've seen Ventrinio leave the island before, but until recently, always had company. Usually they were henchmen. Sometimes they were corpses. And once, not too long ago, it was you. The shadow awaits. Make it quick. This island is a perfection.
You keep surprising me.
Boo.
I believe our new friend has a disturbing path of... This island smells like death. Stay behind me. Whatever that gnome's been up to, it looks like he's...
Okay, as I thought, this is the island we came to. Okay, so it's just, unlike the, oh no, hold on, that one did have an exterior and an interior. Never mind me then. I was going to say, unlike the, or I was going to reference the island of the first Swan, that ended up being somewhere over here, or at least when I opened the main map, over here is where my character's arrow appeared to be, as here. But I think it was probably supposed to be here. Anyway, it doesn't really matter that much. But confused myself because I thought that that island was all one zone. Starstone ring. What's this? Filled... Ooh, detect hidden. 80 health and 30 armor. Filled with knowledge from the heavens above, this specially crafted crystal ring enhances a person's skills. I don't really need a boost to find hidden. Prismere Helm didn't do him much good, did it? Poor bugger. Although I suppose, in fairness, he did know, probably knew about Ventrinio's reputation and probably what he could expect if he decided to come and work for him. Very important to decorate your place with...
Just as Hughes thought, Ventrinio used the same wards from their old lab. This'll be quick. Follow me and be careful.
So this
the
would have...
Laz are coming from somewhere in here.
this will have been built by Winter Court House of Sorrows chaps, but Ventrinio decided that he really needed a pair of huge stone gnome statues to personalise it, I guess.
The energy from the Well of Souls is overwhelming. Damn it!
Weird.
What's wrong? And why are there so many lads?
That'll do.
There's an enemy right on top of us, but I assume that that is like literal and he's actually above us, because...
Feeling homesick?
Well, piles and piles of corpses and pulsating organic masses spilling from inside the Well of Souls. Lovely.
Sounds like our rat is caught in a trap. I'm sure he'd be happy to help whoever saves him.
Yeah, this is very clearly not how this was supposed to be.
Careful, or we'll get trapped up there too.
I've got no idea what's above
Here's
us.
where we part ways. I'll stop the lads at the stairwell. You get upstairs and retrieve Ventrinio.
Okay.
Shouldn't be hard to find him. Keep moving up and follow the cowardly shrieking.
Funny, the game was actually
I'll hold
playing
the
that.
staircase. Move!
Against what exactly? There's nothing here. Oh, there's a son of Laz. And some loot that I forgot. Right, you do your business then. Try and be useful. Yeah, I suppose I'll take them. Oh, that lets them out. Okay. Ouch. Okay, that's new. This is a bit unnecessarily morbid, isn't it? Why would you need to hang corpses from the ceiling?
A new source of power? What sort of nonsense is this? If anything had come in here, my detection spells would have... Wait. Who's down there? Show yourself.
This as remains. The well does a passable job of recreating a subject's flesh and sinew, but I'm having a monstrous time properly catching the departed's essence. Early successes back in Saltwell are proving difficult to reproduce, although I can't be sure if it's a result of more powerful magical sources or any of the dozens of other problems that came with the shoddy construction of this damned tower. Our best results come out as little more than sons of Laz. Yes, like the old rhyme. These ex-soldiers shamble and moan, much like other unfortunates who have borne that crude epithet. But rather than a result of inebriation or insanity, these half-dead beasts simply don't have a functional mind in their skull. Or perhaps they're missing a soul in their hearts, or spleens, or wherever the damned things are supposed to be. Further testing is required. At least they keep the locals away. And they feed themselves, often on each other. Unpleasant.
Damn it all! I don't care who you are. Get up here!
Careful what you wish for. An investment. That'll be Octien, and this will be Ventrinio. Allow me to express my deepest regret for the Forum's verdict and your imminent sentence. Believe me that I argued most stridently on your behalf, and not merely because I invested in the work of you and your colleague, Mr. Hughes. I think we both agree that in the pursuit of science, we must forgive minor missteps when they are followed by great leaps. But alas, my colleagues still hold quite provincial views on the subject of necromancy, and your fate was sealed. But perhaps there is another way. Tomorrow morning your executioner will arrive to escort you from your cell. But after a small donation, I have seen to it that you shall be delivered not to your eternal rest, but to a discreet caravan outside of Odessa. From there, a moderate price has seen to it that you and certain sets of your notes, salvaged from the evidence against you, double brackets, shall be delivered to Cluricon, where a truly monumental price has been paid to construct a new laboratory for your work in a discreet location. I trust you appreciate the depth of my investment in your work, just as I trust that it shall return a grand dividend to your one and only investor. I'd feel sorry for Ventrinio if not for the fact that he's done all the stuff that he's done. With such a lack of conscience. Loot. Prismatic chest piece. Might as well, I suppose. Okay, this is super weird. We're going to have to go around quite a long way, aren't we? Huh. Incinerate the corpse. But that smells.
All those souls. I never should have let them keep those souls.
Can make it spin. Cool. Nice. What's this then? The lion's claws. Sounds like a pair of daggers? No, Feyblades. Okay. Ooh. Aren't they fancy? And they do slightly more damage. Life is conflict. Fey proverb. Bleed damage, critical hit, chance to critical hit. It's 3 more damage, but you lose 15% critical hit damage, but keep chance to critical hit. 30 bleeding damage over 5 seconds. I don't think that I care about that particularly. No, let's stick with the demon horns, but I'll keep the lion's claws on hand just because they're cool, and also because I don't have the space left in my stash. Okay. That's a tripwire here. Wonder what that would have set off. Can't see any traps. Maybe it was release this fair Gorter. It was probably releasing the fair Gorter, wasn't it? That's a Leonashi. Oh no. Oh, that's interesting. The fair Gorter don't like Leonashi. Still not clear on exactly how I'm supposed to pronounce that word.
When you get up here, try not to look directly into the well. It can be a little upsetting.
Ugh. This can't be right. Oh, another corpse to burn. Okay. Pulsing flesh is quite upsetting. But I know what's causing the tower to collapse.
Before the whole well starts to collapse.
And it's wet. You can hear the characters sploshing as they walk. Octien, you old fiend, I don't know when you found this new assistant, but she's an absolute godsend. I may have expressed doubts when you said a single helper could take the place of an experienced lab staff, but she's proven more than capable in every area. Lab work, resource collection, even repelling any Fae curious enough to come to the tower. In every instance, she's met every challenge with a steely-eyed flair. I've tried asking her how she got her remarkable training, but she's loath to talk about her past. In fact, even casual inquiries are rebuffed with no small degree of menace. I know you paid a fortune to hire her from whatever sources you use, but are you absolutely certain that she can be trusted? Still, it's a moot point. I'd hardly be able to continue my work without the help of this marvellous assistant. So much so, in fact, that I have taken the liberty of attuning her to the well's core, so just in case the worst does happen to her, there's a chance I could bring her back for future work. Even if she came back as a simple Laz, she'd surely be twice as skilled as a normal man. This will be him talking about me, no doubt, prior to my death. Let's take all of them, I suppose. I wonder why I've been finding so many potions of health and mana. Despoiler's gauntlets. Damage to beasts and constructs. Now let's just add that to junk. More dead Laz.
Took your time, didn't you? Gods damn it! Ever since the Balor was defeated, the chaos magic sent the well off its alignment. You show up, and now the Laz are... What? It's you? You're alive? But I saw you die. I'm Ventrinian, of course. Don't you remember me? You were my assistant here at the Well of Souls. You were going to help me change the world. But of course, that was before you died. It was terrible. You were the best assistant I ever had. Who else could have helped me get into Alabastra? Who else had that ambition? We got more than enough Prismere, but you wanted to track down the power source, even if it meant sneaking right under Gadflur's nose. I spent days trying to recover your body, but I never expected to find you alive, or for you to return. Speaking of which, how did you return anyway? Of course you did. You went there to steal Prismere to power the well. You wanted to go after the source of the Prismere itself. You went off, geared for war, sneaking into Bale itself. You damned fool! I had a better chance of bringing you back from the dead than I had of changing your mind. But I wasn't able to do either.
Hughes brought me back.
What? That's impossible. You were attuned at this well. You've never even set foot in his lab. Ha! Hughes is a joke. He doesn't have the stomach for this one. Try waking the dead if you're not ready to make a few corpses, I say. But the well is coming down around us. Quick! I've got to slow the energy and shut this thing down. And don't... Oh, damn it all. Here they come. Hold them off. The Laz are here. Hold them off while I try to stop the flow of energy to the well.
Easy enough. I don't know where they came from, unless Aelin Shearer is not doing her job.
Ignore the rumbling. Focus on the Laz.
They're not showing up on the minimap. Oh, they're coming back, but they're not... cutscene or forced leaving. Who are all these chaps?
The half-dead were swarming around this tower like ants hungry for a meal.
Oh. Oh no.
The beacon of corruption is finally wiped from this island. Well done.
Who are you guys?
You took quite a tumble from the tower.
Anything we can salvage? Even all my work gone. Damn it all! But at least we're still alive. Once again, I triumph over death itself. Going back into Alabaster. Well, I still have a way in, but it's more dangerous now than the last time we went. I'll need more Prismere if I'm to rebuild the well. And I suppose I owe you something for saving my life. Perhaps this talisman can help you. It's a little something I salvaged from the debris. It might just help against whatever killed you the first time.
Soldens.
We got in with a little help, of course. See, it's all because of Callous Dren, the defender of pride. In his house, no one can stand before him. None can even approach, unless you have my little secret. Patience, patience. You'll have it soon enough. I'm going to have to dig it out of the rubble of the tower. Go to the field of Huber, and I'll meet you there. And if you value your life, do not approach Dren.
I don't know, I reckon I could probably take Dren, to be honest.
I know the type. Lucky you've peeked early, then crawled into a bottle and waited to die. I'm impressed you dragged him away from that bottle, but I wouldn't expect him to do any heavy thinking. You mean your deadly little shadow? I know her type. All smiles now, but it's just so she can get close enough to stick her knives in you.
Yeah, and good luck to her if she tries that with me.
After an unfortunate incident with the Templars, Octian decided to move my work someplace a little further from the public eye. We both felt that an island in another land behind the front lines of a war might just be far enough from prying eyes. Dren, defender of pride, one of twin defenders, quite powerful in their homes. But did you know they were also entirely immune to each other's powers? And it seems the Defender of Valor quite disappeared when her house fell. Imagine how useful she would have been if she were here today. Simple bone soldiers, easy enough for any decent mage to build and animate. They're not really alive any more than a puppet is. Gadflow's got an empire built on Prismere. Think of all the power he's sitting on. And he's wasting it on swords and bows. Arrogant fools, all of them. At least we could sneak past them when they were overconfident. Now that the army's at their gate, they'll be watching for us.
Makes sense.
He wasn't fit to hold my crucible, much less carry on my work. He could barely even stand to cut open a warm corpse for study. I can't imagine the reason you came back in his well instead of mine. Probably some freak attunement transfer.
Well, I think it's probably more to do with the fact that his well worked. Because he approached it differently and managed to work out what the missing component is that you still haven't.
A horrible, messy, ugly place. Too dark to keep bodies preserved and too hot to keep them from stinking. Oh, to be back in a cave and a tear. Partial successes at best. They remember how to fight, but that's about all they're good for. Named them after an old nursery rhyme. Damn things are always moaning all the time. I thought it might shut them up to give them a name. You don't remember it? Well, why dredge up the past? After all, you're fine now, aren't you? You're not the type to hold a grudge, right?
Why would I hold a grudge against you? Do you think that you did me wrong somehow?
You were my assistant in the well, and a damned good one at that. Octian hired you personally, said you were especially resourceful, and left it at that. I didn't know anything about you before you worked for me, and I knew better than to ask. You didn't like talking about yourself. Actually, you didn't like much of anything. Honestly, you were a terror to be around. But you've changed. I can tell. Before you died, you would never have been this diplomatic. You probably would have knifed me for answers by now. Oh, speaking of which, you left this in your room before you died. Take it, take it.
Band of the Gladiator. Nice.
We were in Alabastra, and I never thought it'd be dangerous. At least, not very. Oh, don't give me that look. Accidents happen. You can't make an omelette without leaving a few corpses.
Have you ever made an omelette before? No, strike that. Please don't try. Seems like you'd be unnecessarily violent about it.
Octane, the man lacked vision. Can you believe all he wanted was his own personal immortality machine? Such a narrow-minded goal for a Templar. Still, he wasn't squeamish about what had to be done in order to develop the well. I suppose he paid well, too, if you consider that any reason to pursue the sciences. We needed tremendous quantities of Prismere to fuel the well, but it's almost unheard of outside of Alabastra, so we had to sneak in to gather our own. The Well of Souls is a noble project. Yes, sacrifices have been made, laws have been broken, people have died, and they will continue to die. Don't you see? That's exactly what I'm trying to prevent. How many have died in this war? Thousands. The bodies are shoulder deep in the battlefields, but for trying to cure it, they call me a monster? My name is Ventrinio Dessalini, and I am Professor Emeritus Abscondus of Post-Mortem Studies at the Edessa University. Of course, that was all before I began work on the Well of Souls. Such an important undertaking doesn't leave much time for other pursuits, you know. Fine. We were collecting Prismere in Alabastra. We needed it to power the well, of course, and you got a wild idea to track down the source of the power. I tried to stop you. I really did. But you decided to sneak into Amethyst, and I wasn't about to get killed along with you. I spent days trying to get your corpse back, but to no avail. Much as I hate to admit it, I should thank Hughes for succeeding where I failed.
Yeah, these are definitely emitting light, aren't they? Now that I'm looking at night, these are definitely glowing, which makes sense. I mean, they do fire damage, but it's obvious that the heat is being focused towards the edges rather than the way that heat actually would sit in a solid metal lump like this. Is at the thickest parts, and the thinnest parts would cool first because there's less mass there to hold the heat, which is interesting.
Just go to the Field of Huber and wait for me. I'll meet you down there once I can find this damned essence.
Is it Essence of Fate?
I'll keep an eye on the gnome.
Remember, don't go near Dren until I get there.
Who are these guys? Bitter Frost Soldier? We've never encountered a faction called Bitter Frost before. Oh well. Oh yeah, I got a ring, didn't I? Band of the Gladiator. Huh. It's basically the same as the ring of the Gladiator. Huh. 20% damage, 6% chance to critical hit. Platinum bands of this kind are capable of storing more potent enchantments than lesser rings of gold or silver, except these do exactly the same thing. This one is a bit more decorated than this. This is just a simple band of gold. I suppose if I wanted another 20% damage boost, I could swap that out, couldn't I? There we go. Keep Loop of Meditation in, because it might be nice to have more crit. Although I'm also getting 15% chance and damage on crits from my demon horns. This is me doing ludicrous quantities of damage now, but I've got 2 rings that boost my damage by 20% each. Jeez. Okay. So next up we'll be coming down to here, South Caeled Coast. But not today, because we're over 3 hours. We're over the 3 hour mark. So it's time for me to stop. So this is the end of the stream for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching and that you decide to come back. In between streams, well, okay, so next time I'm streaming will be Monday, 8 PM GMT, roughly about 8 PM, maybe a bit later, probably a bit later, maybe 20 past, probably 10 past. Sometime after 8 on Monday, basically. Between then and now, you can find me on Twitter at Vanilla Jester. I will also be tweeting just before I go live, or to let people know if I'm not feeling well or not feeling up to it. You can also find these VODs on... you can find recordings of these streams as VODs on YouTube, on my channel Vanilla Jester Gaming. Feel free to contact me in either place. Happy to talk. I'm also on Discord for those who can find me. But yes, hope to see you next time, or at least again. And until then, I hope you have a nice time, and goodbye.